Hello trainees, welcome back to my channel DenzTV. So now this is the second activity that you are going to perform for trainers methodology level 1. Okay, so this is now the job sheet 1.1-6. Alright, so for this job sheet you are to prepare training needs analysis forms. Alright, so for the training needs analysis form, you need to make 4 training needs analysis form. First is the self-assessment check. This one, self-assessment check. Next is evidences, proof of current competencies, which is form 1 number 2. Form 1 number 3, summary of current competencies versus required competencies. And the last one is training needs analysis, training needs, which is form number 1.4. Alright, so these forms are all training needs analysis. Alright, so in this particular activity, my dear trainees, you are going to determine the current competencies of your learners. Right? We see current competencies, these are their experiences. Okay? Their experiences, past experiences. Okay? So this particular training needs analysis forms, this is to determine your current competencies. Okay? Now, in the previous topics, you learned that important data about your trainings are needed as inputs in planning your training sessions. So one of them is the trainee's characteristics. Alright, so that was the first video for TM1. Okay, for the activity for TM1. Alright, so now, so training needs is another important data that you need to collect as a trainer, so that you will be able to identify the skills and competencies needed by individual trainees. In CBT or competency-based training, competencies or skills that are already previously acquired by the trainee will no longer be repeated in their learning activities. Alright, so you need to conduct RPL. Alright, but first you have to validate his or her certificates. Alright, so in this particular activity, you have to determine their current competencies. Okay, so what is current competencies? My dear trainees, so these are the skills and knowledge of your new trainees obtained through formal training, work experience, or life experience. This should be determined before you can prepare your session plan, so as not include the same competencies where the trainees are already competent. Alright? Now, for this self-assessment check, it is a checklist. This is a checklist of competencies required of the qualification. Okay? So if you have noticed, this is a checklist. So, first of all, you need to download your training regulations of your assigned qualification. Alright? So you have to download it first. Okay. So all of these forms, it should be given to all your learners to determine current competencies. Alright? So first of all, you have to add instructions for them to have a better understanding of what to do. Okay? So, if you have noticed, we have our basic competencies, we have here common competencies, and we have here core competencies. If you have noticed, these are all from the training regulations of TISDA. Okay? So whatever qualifications you have to download it to www.tisda.gov.ph. Okay? Once already downloaded, now you can already make your form, which is self-assessment checklist. Alright, so all you need to make is you have to copy and paste the basic, common, and core competencies. Alright, so these are the basic competencies. Alright, so these are all the modules or unit of competencies of basic competencies. Okay, so for basic competencies, these are the first unit, okay, or module for basic competencies. Participate in workplace communication. Alright, so this 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, these are all the learning outcomes of participate in workplace communication. Alright, in your training regulations, this is belong to element. Alright, this belong to element. So simply copy and paste it here. Alright, again, this is unit of competency number 1, and these are the LOs belong to this competency. Alright, so and so on and so forth. Okay, and be sure to mark yes here. Okay, and so on and so forth. Common competencies, same procedure. You have to copy the unit of competency belong to common, and as well as its learning outcomes. These are all the learning outcomes, and then mark yes here. Okay, so this yeses here, these are indication that the learners are already done with these competencies. Alright, so let us assume that you have 2 learners. Okay, one learner will answer the self-assessment checklist almost of the competencies except one core competency. Alright, but the other learner will answer no of all the competencies. This means to say that the learner number 2 has zero knowledge about this qualification. But for learner number 1, as I said earlier, he or she answered almost of the competencies except one core. Right? Okay, so let's move on to the core competencies. So if you have noticed, these are the core competencies for bread and pastry production in situ. Alright? So this is the first unit or module for baking and pastry production. Okay? These are all the LOs belong to this module. Okay? And the number 2 module, prepare and produce pastry products. And these are all the learning outcomes. So if we have noticed, the learner number 1 choose unit number 2 or unit of competency, which is prepare and produce pastry products. Okay, this is an indication that this particular unit of competency is his or her gap. Alright, and this would be the focus of your portfolio. Okay, so the title of your portfolio is preparing and producing pastry products. Alright, so take note, this mark all no. Alright, all LOs here should be marked no. Okay, and the rest of the unit of competency here, number 3, yes. Number 4, yes. Number 5, yes. Only number 2. Okay, take note of that, huh? This would be the focus of his or her portfolio. Alright, let's proceed to the next form. Evidences or proof of current competencies. Okay, this form 1, number 2, evidence of current competencies acquired related to job or occupation. So if you have noticed, only the core competency. Okay, but take note, I want you to include basic, common, and core for you to be able to master the 3 regulations of TISTA. Alright, so include basic and common here. Okay, so I've noticed we have your core competency, prepare and produce bakery products. Now, the current competencies, this one, these are all the units of competencies. Okay, these are all the units of competencies, including the LOs, the learning outcome. So all you have to do is to copy and paste it here. Okay, right, look at that. So I will go back to the first, prepare and produce bakery products. These are the LOs. So I'm going to go to evidence or proof of current competencies. It's just the same because you need to copy and paste it here only. But when it comes to proof or evidence, of course you have to put it here, certificate of employment and pass the interview, or else certificate of employment or certificate of training. That's wrong. That's certificate of training. Okay, so certificate of training. Okay, and try to look at the means of validating. So the student presented these 2 certificates to the teacher. Okay, he said yes here, right? He said yes here. So meaning he or she undergone already this particular units of competency. So all you have to do is to ask him or her a certificate. Alright? Okay, so this one. So you are going to validate his or her certificate. How? Of course, by calling first the company to verify authenticity and currency of the certificate. So once already verified, all you have to do is to conduct recognition of prior learning. Alright? So what are the assessment method? All you have to do is to have a written examination, okay, demonstration, and interview. Okay, and be sure the student will pass the assessment. Okay, for him or her to be able to receive certificate of achievement. Right, clear? So let's move on to his choosing core competency. So if you have noticed, you just copy the units of competency and the learning outcomes from the self-assessment checkers. So if you have noticed, there is no certificate here, there's no validation here. It's because this is your chosen, or this is the gap of the student, meaning he or she does not experience any topics from this core competency. So this would be the gap of the student. So it will remain blank here. Okay, blank. Then next is number 3. Same with the number 1. You just copy and paste. You have to put the certificate and the validation just like this. Alright? And so on and so forth. Alright? Except the chosen one. Except this one. Prepare and produce pastry product. Okay? Because the student said the student marked no on this particular unit of competency. Okay, next. The next form is identifying training gaps. So you already knew the proof and current competencies, or proof or evidence of current competencies. So now you will be able to summarize it according or versus to required competencies. So all you have to do is just to copy and paste again. Only the core competency. Copy the unit of competency and then copy also the learning outcomes. Then the learning outcomes will also be copied to the current competencies. Okay? And for your chosen core, same procedure, copy, paste here including LOs, but do not copy all the LOs here, but in the training gaps, because these are the training gaps of the learner. Okay, so leave it blank here because this is the current competencies, meaning the student have undergone such particular competency already. Okay, so same process, only the chosen one. It should be in the training gaps. Clear? And the last one is the training needs. Okay, so you have already identified the current competence versus the required competency. Now you can now identify the training needs. Of course, the training needs or the learning outcomes and the module title or module of instruction. So if you have noticed, these are the chosen one core: preparing and producing pastry products, and these are the learning outcomes of preparing and producing pastry products. Alright? So these are the forms that you are going to prepare for job sheet 1.1-6. Alright? So it's very simple. If you have questions, just comment down below in my YouTube channel, and I'm sure makikita ko yan. And do not forget to subscribe, and until my next video. Alright? Okay. So for the next video, we have there station plan. Alright, preparing station plan. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.